Elon Musk rose to international fame as the CEO of Tesla Incorporated, TSLA, the CEO and lead architect of his space business SpaceX, and most recently, as the world's wealthiest person. Recently he bought Twitter and the whole world is aware of it. Many controversies have also taken place till now. So in this video, we will be discussing about why Elon Musk just abandoned the Twitter deal. Lawyers for Elon Musk, the wealthiest man, expressed their anger in a brief 6-paragraph letter to Twitter on Monday. Mr. Musk's interests are being actively resisted and thwarted by Twitter when he was completing a $44 billion agreement to buy the social platform, according to the lawyers. According to them, the business was refusing Mr. Musk's data request to reveal the number of false accounts on its network. According to the lawyers, this amounted to a clear significant breach of the contract, allowing Mr. Musk to terminate it. Mr. Musk's campaign to remove the blockbuster acquisition accelerated with the letter, which was presented to Twitter and filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission. After buying Twitter in April, Mr. Musk, 50, recently indicated that he may want to back out of the transaction, despite the fact that he had forfeited his right to conduct thorough research on Twitter when he purchased it. If one side or another brought the case to court, the letter created the possibility of a contentious legal war. If Mr. Musk went down that path, the transaction conditions allow Twitter the authority to prosecute him to force the acquisition to be completed if his loan funding for the purchase is still in place. The letter also elicited a few guffaws. Mr. Musk, the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, is known for being erratic and also has a history of winging his deals, so his latest attempt isn't wholly surprising. This is the moment Elon Musk's chaotic ruminations in tweets have been condensed into an official letter to authorities, Susanna Streeter, a senior financial and market analyst at Hargreaves Lansdown, said. It was always going to be a difficult road with the takeover. The transaction with Mr. Musk is still on track, according to Twitter. We plan to complete the acquisition and pursue the partnership deal at the price and terms agreed on. The company will continue to cooperatively share information with Mr. Musk to conclude the sale, a spokeswoman said. Behind the scenes, Twitter has been providing information with Mr. Musk for nearly a month with no communication breakdowns, according to a source familiar with the issue who asked to remain anonymous because the discussions were private. Mr. Musk's past assertions, both publicly and to Twitter, that he had been taking into account to create a rival social platform is one of Twitter's worries about sharing the information, according to two individuals familiar with the subject. Typically, such issues are resolved by enacting safeguards, such as limiting who has access to this information, and are agreed upon before any agreement being reached. According to a copy of the memo acquired by the New York Times, Twitter's general counsel, Sean Edgett, also wrote an email to staff on Monday morning reaffirming the company's commitment to finalizing the purchase. On Monday, Twitter's stock sank 1.5% to $39.56, well below the $54.20 per share price that Mr. Musk decided to pay for the firm. Mr. Musk did not respond to requests for comment right away. Mr. Musk, who's been railing against Twitter's false accounts and bots for long, appears to be gaining traction with others. Following the release of Mr. Musk's letter to Twitter on Monday, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton announced the launch of an inquiry into the firm for potentially deceiving Texans on the number of its bot users, according to his office. Mr. Paxton's investigation has elicited no response from Twitter. Mr. Musk said that he wanted to take Twitter private, enable more free expression on the site, and upgrade the service's features when he agreed to buy it in April. However, the stock exchange market has plummeted in recent weeks due to concerns about inflation, the Ukraine conflict, and supply chain issues. Shares of firms like Tesla, Mr. Musk's main source of wealth, have been affected by the downturn. The instability has also roiled financial system, potentially making it more difficult for banks to sell debt used to fund takeovers. Analysts believe that these considerations have caused Mr. Musk to have second thoughts about investing $44 billion in the digital media business. Mr. Musk has pressurized to put Twitter transaction on pause in recent weeks due to the number of phone accounts on the platform. He tweeted last month that the agreement cannot move forward until Twitter can offer evidence that these accounts account for less than 5% of its users, as the company has stated. He made similar comments at a seminar in Miami, implying that he is attempting to build the framework for a reworking of the pact. Mr. Musk seemed to be laying the groundwork to argue that Twitter had encountered a material adverse change that would have a major impact on its operations, allowing him to back out of the arrangement. Legal experts, however, have questioned the validity of that claim, especially because Twitter has consistently said that fraudulent accounts account for around 5% of its users. Mr. Musk's letter on Monday, on the other hand, signaled a shift in direction. Rather than simply stating that the billionaire simply didn't believe Twitter's numbers, Mr. Musk's lawyers claimed in the letter that the organization had breached its obligations by failing to provide Mr. Musk with data that he deemed critical to the agreement in this case, namely, how the company accounts for its bot count. Mr. Musk had repetitively asked for additional details about how Twitter monitored spam and phony accounts on its platform, according to the lawyers, and he had made it apparent that he does not feel the organization's inadequate testing techniques are appropriate and that he must do his own study. They said that Twitter's participation was required to obtain the financial leverage that banks had agreed to provide to support the transaction. Morgan Stanley, as well as other lenders, have pledged $13 billion in loans to fund Mr. Musk's acquisition. The same lawful contracts control their responsibilities as the deal. What he's actually doing is a far more cunning effort to get out of the merger deal, said Ann Lipton, a Tulane Law School professor of governance. If Twitter was actually stonewalling information demands, and those data requests were required or reasonable for Musk to get his finance, as he claims in this letter, then it might be a breach that authorizes Musk to walk away. According to her, Twitter could argue that it does not have information that Mr. Musk is seeking or is not required for the purchase to happen. By the 24th of October, an agreement should be finalized. When it does not close by now anyway, either party is free to leave. Mr. Musk and Twitter would have another 6 months to complete the purchase if regulatory clearances were to be delayed at the time. Under certain situations, the arrangement contains a $1 billion buyout offer for both parties. In many ways, the accord appears to be on track. Twitter stated last week that it had gained regulatory approval from the Federal Trade Commission to move forward with the sale. Mr. Musk revealed in a statement last month that he had increased his money commitment to the deal, withdrawing a scheduled loan against Tesla shares. He also stated that he was discussing with other Twitter shareholders, including co-founder Jack Dorsey, about rolling their shares into the firm after it was taken private. Closing the deal is critical for Twitter's survival. The company has had trouble maintaining regular financial results and growing its user base. Last month, Twitter's CEO Parag Agrawal slashed the company's expenditures and halted new hiring. He has shaken up the company's top level since taking charge in November and has intentions for more changes. He's also asked his employees to attempt to stick to the plan. At a recent corporate meeting, he observed, "I realize we've been going through a phase of uncertainty. We're returning our attention to our task." Please leave a like and subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed the video, and click the notification bell to never miss our videos. Stay tuned till the next video, and until then, see you soon.